there are three things about election.
Tell me.
Money, number one. Money, number two. Money, number three. When you put that to be the situation in a country, people will do everything possible. They will steal your money if they are seeking re-election. And they also know if you are doing your last term as a governor, you are going into oblivion. You are going into emptiness.
Absolutely.
You need to cushion yourself. They will steal because there's nothing to deter theft in this country. They want to employ. That's what every governor wants to do. To employ. Very little in terms of quality and output. They are not bothered about output. They are not bothered about welfare. They just want to employ. I mean, why give you money which you either spend badly or your absorption rates are so awkward? Almost no county. Oh, they have excuses and reasons. But almost no county ever exhausts the money they are given.
Really?
Oh, of course.
And you're just in time for yet another edition of Business Glide here on Herman Manyora's channel. My name is Richard Mwanja. Now, the Council of Governors, under the stewardship of Governor Martin Wambora, is pushing for an increased allocation of revenues to the government by a figure of 381.4 billion Kenya shillings on top of their current allocation of 370 billion Kenya shillings. Now, this will wholesomely bring the figure at a whooping 751.4 billion shillings come the next financial year, which is 2022 towards 2023. Now, in the previous allocations to county governments, how prudently have they managed them? Going forward, what are the strategies that they have put in place to ensure that fiscal efforts as well as fiscal prudence is adhered to? Now, to bring this conversation home, I'm joined by renowned public scholar and your favorite statesman, Herman Manyora. Professor, welcome on set.
Thank you.
All right. Now, Prof, the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill of 2020 recommends that at least 35% of the total revenue collected by the government be channeled towards the county governments. Perhaps why the Council of Governors is pushing for an additional 380 billion on top of their 370 billion allocation. Now, taking into context where we are as a country, revenue-wise, do you find this push viable enough?
Well, there are many things you can say, but
all right.
If we maintain the current balance sheet we have,
I see.
Income versus expenditure.
All right.
Surely you cannot get that money.
Absolutely.
In other words, if we continue raising the revenue we have and topping up with borrowing and grants,
all right,
and spend the money we are spending,
all right,
you can't even get a shilling for anything extra.
But,
so to say you can increase county allocation within the current arrangement, it's not possible.
But why will governors overstep their reasoning and bank their argument on the constitutional
like everybody else, they may be thinking government has endless monies.
All right.
People think government just has money.
All right.
Which you and I know is not true. But again, it could be born out of the understanding that we are capable of a number of things.
All right.
One of them, of course, being raising our revenue without raising taxes.
Absolutely.
We can raise more revenue without raising taxes. And there are strategies that we can employ. So perhaps that's what they are looking at. Secondly, perhaps they are thinking we can cut down on certain government expenditure.
All right.
And then we have more money at our disposal to devolve. People are also having a conversation around debt restructuring.
All right.
Which will ease the pressure on the exchequer.
All right.
People are also talking about negotiations with donors in terms of writing off debts. And so maybe they are looking that broadly.
All right.
But all this I find to be kindergarten.
All right.
What you need to do with the kind of devolution we have is basically not even to put figures, is to cost functions and let money follow those functions.
All right.
Simple.
All right. So if you look at the new county revenue sharing formula that came in place just the other day, there are a number of indices that are considered before revenue is allocated to various county governments. And among them, we are seeing consideration of the land mass, the population, the poverty levels, or rather poverty prevalence, and also indices such as the fiscal effort and fiscal prudence. However, if you look at those indices, the one with the most little allocation percentage-wise is fiscal effort and fiscal prudence. Now, when I'm talking about fiscal effort, this is the extent to which the county government should go within their reach and marshal up as much money-making frontier as they can, at least so that the countries can be driven forward. And then prudence now is making sure that at the least of the Auditor Generals, they appear as positive and transparent. Now, why would we allocate these important indices at 2%, yet the others such as poverty levels
at... If you give it anything other than that,
all right,
none of these counties will get money.
Why?
Because their physical discipline is wanting.
All right.
The physical creativity is non-existent.
Uh-huh.
So if you give it a stronger thing than that, then they will get very little money.
But if you are to rely on our counties, I think those two indices should be at the very top.
Yeah, if we were a serious country.
All right.
I mean, why give you money which you either spend badly,
absolutely,
or your absorption rates are so awkward?
Uh-huh.
Almost no county, they have excuses and reasons, but almost no county ever exhausts the money they are given.
Really?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Of course. I'm a member of a county economic forum. I should know what I'm talking about.
I see.
And I'm
I
an
see.
informed Kenyan.
All right.
They give the excuse that the disbursement is bad, that quite a good amount of this money comes around June 30th.
Uh-huh.
And then if Miss is jammed and everything, you are not able. But most of them, if you look, there's a lot more they would have done so that when the money comes, however late, it can be channeled into the right. But the laziness, lack of physical discipline and order makes it very difficult for them. For example, let me give you a good example.
Uh-huh.
A lot of donor funding comes as conditional grants.
Absolutely.
Many counties are not able to meet the conditions. And they can't absorb those monies. They are there. Ask. Go and check.
All right.
Yeah.
As at June 2021 this year, we saw the Control of Budget, Madam Margaret, come up with a report of pending bills. And the entire pending bills that had accumulated are worth 96 billion Kenya shillings, with, of course, Nairobi County taking majority of that. Now, they are hard-working Kenyans who are contractors and suppliers, and the biggest nightmares for them is working with the county governments, forging ahead in as much as they want increased allocations. Do you see them fixing the issue of pending bills? Because some are dating back to several years ago.
First of all, those pending bills is just fraud.
Okay.
Those are conmen. No work was done. A lot of that is theft. Many of the governors who took over in 2017, when they tried to do conduct an audit of their pending bills or their predecessors,
I see.
What they found was crazy. You couldn't point at a single thing ever done. So even when the government, through the pressure and at the urging of the president, began pushing counties, the most authoritative statement was made in last year's Madaraka Day. I think in Narok, from Narok, something. Madaraka Day or something like that.
Yeah.
But from Narok. They say you must pay pending bills. But most of there's nothing to show. It's all theft. However, I know there are few people inside there. I said this on a national TV. And somebody called me and told me, Manyora, do you know that I've seen people commit suicide? Because I know that. But a majority of those things are fictitious. However,
I see.
We must pay what we owe.
All right.
Okay? And make sure in future we do not allow people to come with fiction. All right. So we must pay. The counties will have quite a big problem paying this money. All right. Because none of the, very few counties are able to meet the 30% threshold. Absolutely. For development expenditure. They can barely reach there. So how are they going to get money to pay this? So I think the government ought to be, according to me, more innovative. Make sure counties do not, like you have said, people dread the idea of working for counties. Absolutely. Counties should not enter into any tendering or whatever it is, contract, unless the money is already there. The situation that obtains with the Kenya Roads Board Fund, that one, when you go to do a road, the money is always there. So everything should be like that, the KRB Fund, Kenya Road Board Fund. I see. Secondly, government should kind of write off these debts by paying them from the treasury, direct. And then we start on a clean slate. Otherwise, counties will break. They can barely make 30%. Okay. In terms of realizing the 70-30% rule for capital development and development expenditure and current expenditure. If you ask them to factor in another 1 billion or a 500 million. They can't. Government should pay off, but be very strict in terms of awarding contracts only when there is money.
All right. In as much as majority counties are decrying being overstretched financially, we see Baringo's Governor Stanley Kiptis has rolled out, just last week, he rolled out an initiative to make sure that all servants who have stayed in one job group for a long period be promoted. The entire staff are running through the county. Now, why have many county governments not really taken up the initiative to do job promotions to through their workers? Because majority in the health sector within the devolved units are declining day by day.
What happens with the county governments?
All right.
In matters of employment and HR affairs,
I see.
They want to employ. That's what every governor wants to do, to employ. Very little in terms of quality and output. They are not bothered about output. They are not bothered about welfare. They just want to employ. They are not bothered about promoting people who are due for promotion.
I see.
Giving incentives to workers, being mindful of their welfare. That they don't care. They just want to bring in new people to get political capital. I
see.
And, you know, I've employed your son, I employed your daughter, and therefore, you know, that kind of thing.
All right.
That explains why I'll be happy to see a governor making a departure by considering promotion for people whose promotion is long overdue. So kudos to the Baringo governor.
Absolutely.
If he has done that, I'm not
All
sure.
right. All right. When allocating revenue to county governments, we are looking also at times at the health index, which has taken also a bigger percentage of the factors to be considered. However, if you look at the case of Vihiga County as of today, health workers have come up and say they are going to lay down their tools. And it is a situation that has cut across many counties, talk of Tana River, Trans Nzoia County. Now, any thriving economy, whether the devolved unit or national unit, will make sure that its labor force and citizens are safe health-wise. Now, why would we not spend as much on the health side?
You know what?
I see.
At the national level, the bulk of our budget goes to education for obvious reasons. In terms of paying the teachers, there are almost 300,000 of them.
All right.
At the county level, education is not devolved, apart from ECD. So what is happening at the county level? The health burden in the budget is unbearable.
I see.
It consumes the biggest chunk of revenue for the counties, and it is quite something difficult to handle. The Vihiga case is quite tragic because it's at the root of what I'm explaining. People wanting to employ and employ and employ, because when you employ people, you become popular.
I see.
So I think the Vihiga case was even more complex because the person who was employing was not the governor. It was done behind his back. At the time of realizing almost 500 extra people had been employed instead of the 100 approved for employment, he tried to step in until it was too late. So he stopped their salaries, then legal challenges set in. So their case is unfortunate.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't change the situation of what I've said, that counties just want to employ. If I were the one, I will abolish all county public service boards, all of them. Let employment be at the center in Nairobi.
All right.
And you justify the person you want to employ. Why? And then we give him to you.
All right.
And then we deal with their HR issues, promotion and anything else.
I see. During the Mashujaa speech by President Uhuru Kenyatta, we saw him roll out the community contracting systems. And do you find that this is the silver bullet that devolved government should take up to curb procurement issues around there and dispatching of funds to people, to contractors and suppliers, so that they go heavy on community contracting, and once someone has done the job, it's the funds are directed directly to them?
That's very good thinking. First of all, most of these jobs should be labor intensive.
I see.
They should be what we call labor contracts. So that you do not bring somebody, a rich man, and give him the 800 million. And then he spends 50 million and takes the rest from wherever he came. If it's labor intensive, the contractor gives his professional services, but the material are sourced by the user. So if you are putting up a school like the president say, let the school source the material. You as a contractor, your work is to do the construction. We pay you for that. And like the president has said, let the material come from the local community. And let us make sure that is happening, and that is the case, by paying the people directly.
I see.
If you pay the people directly, you are not going to pay somebody from Nairobi And the school is being constructed in Nyamira, Kisii.
I see.
Yeah.
The very last, Professor, we saw the other day, majority of Kenyans coming to the media and saying they are worried about the fiscal prudence and, of course, fiscal efforts by our devolved governments, in that majority of those sitting leaders in our government are seeking re-election, or they want to exit from the stage come next year. And they are worried that as at now, county leaders are doing so less in terms of improving living standards. They are really banking on getting exit packages, getting as much money they can compile for their families and them as they exit the stage. Do you have anyone to reassure those?
You know, when you have an election climate in a country where money is everything.
I see.
You know, like JF said, there are three things about election.
Tell me.
Money, number one. Money, number two. Money, number three. When you put that to be the situation in a country, people will do everything possible. They will steal your money if they are seeking re-election. And they also know if you are doing your last term as a governor, you are going into oblivion. You are going into emptiness.
Absolutely.
You need to cushion yourself. They will steal because there's nothing to deter theft in this country.
I see.
Yeah.
All right.
Nothing has happened to the governors who stole in the first. In Nigeria, when they started the experiment, governors were put in. If we had arrested, tried, and jailed some of the governors who stole money in the first term, the current governors would not be stealing.
All right. Thank you, Professor. Yeah. Well, that takes us to the wrap of our conversation here, taking stock of the latest initiative by Council of Governors to see them get more allocations from the exchequer towards facilitating both the development expenditure and recurrent expenditure. But as is the norm here on Business Glide, before we leave, we give credits to our fan of the week. And today we go all the way to Canada. We have Maurice Odwor from Canada. All right.
Maurice Odwor from Canada, how are you? And thank you for being our follower and having a conversation with us. Congratulations.
I see. Well, keep this conversation going beyond here. I'm at Mwenja Richard on Twitter, at H Manyora on Twitter as well. And make sure you stay glued to every edition of Business Glide, where we enlighten you of everything you need to know in the world of business and economics. Until next time, God bless.